You're alone, and suddenly, a sharp pain grips your chest. It feels like someone's pressing down with all their weight. Your arms feel heavy, your breathing gets shallow, and a cold sweat breaks out on your forehead. You try to move, maybe reach for the phone, but fear stops you. You're scared. No one's around. What do you do? How do you survive this? Your heart is racing, not just from the pain, but from the panic setting in. Because the question rushing through your mind isn't just what's happening, it's am I going to make it? If that scenario sent chills down your spine, you're not alone. For many people over 60, this is a quiet fear they carry, especially those living by themselves. The thought of suffering a heart attack with no one there to help is terrifying, and it's not just about pain, it's about the uncertainty, the helplessness. What if you can't reach the phone in time? What if the ambulance doesn't get there fast enough? What if no one even knows something's wrong? These are the thoughts that haunt people in the quiet moments, especially when the house is still and the walls seem to close in just a little tighter. You might not talk about it much, but it's there, and the truth is, that fear is valid, but it doesn't have to control you. Because here's what most people don't know: you are not powerless. In fact, there are simple, proven steps you can take that can give you a fighting chance, even if no one else is around. These aren't complicated medical procedures or high-tech gadgets. They're practical, doable actions that can save your life in those critical moments, and knowing what to do before something happens puts the power back in your hands. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do if you ever find yourself in that situation. We'll talk about the early warning signs your body gives you, the first things you must do the moment symptoms hit, and the biggest mistakes people make that could cost them their lives. We'll even go over some drills you can practice, so if the moment ever comes you'll be ready, not frozen in fear. And this isn't just theory, these are real strategies, shaped by real stories, that have saved lives, including people who were alone, just like you. You don't need to feel helpless. You just need to be prepared. Let's get into it. Let's start by understanding what's actually going on inside your body during a heart attack. It's not just random pain, it's your body's way of sounding the alarm. Picture this. Your heart is a hard-working pump. Every minute it pushes blood through a network of arteries to keep your body alive and well. But when one of those arteries gets blocked, usually by a buildup of plaque from cholesterol, that blood flow suddenly slows or even stops. Without oxygen-rich blood, part of your heart muscle starts to die. That's what a heart attack is. It's your heart being starved of oxygen, and it starts to shut down. The longer it goes untreated, the more damage is done, and that damage, it can be permanent or fatal. Now here's the thing most people don't realize. Your heart doesn't always scream for help in the same way. It doesn't always come with that movie-style image of a person clutching their chest and falling over. In real life, especially for older adults, the signs can be much more subtle and easy to brush off. For some, it might feel like pressure instead of pain, like someone sitting on your chest. Others feel it in their arms, shoulders, jaw, or even their back. You might feel unusually tired, like you just ran a marathon even though you've barely moved. Some people feel nauseous, dizzy, or break into a cold sweat. For women and diabetics especially, these symptoms can be even less obvious. They might feel lightheaded, short of breath, or just off without ever feeling actual chest pain, and that's where the danger lies. These symptoms don't always shout, they whisper. And when they whisper, they're easy to ignore. Maybe you think it's heartburn, or you just overdid it today. Maybe you decide to wait it out. But in those first few minutes, every second counts. The earlier you act, the better your chances of survival. That's why knowing the signs and trusting your instincts is so important, because heart attacks don't always make a dramatic entrance. Sometimes they sneak in quietly, and if you're not paying attention, they can take everything from you before you even know what's happening. Many older adults delay getting help because they think, I don't want to make a fuss, or it's probably nothing. But let me tell you something right now, it's always better to be safe than sorry. You are never a burden for protecting your own life. The worst case, you go to the hospital, and they tell you it was just a scare. The best case, You catch a heart attack early enough to walk away from it, and that's a win worth fighting for. So let's say you start feeling that crushing pressure in your chest, or maybe a strange tightness that spreads to your jaw or left arm. You're sweating, your breathing is shallow, and something just feels wrong. That's your first and most important step. Recognize the signs. Your body is trying to tell you something urgent. Don't brush it off or convince yourself it's indigestion or fatigue. If you're suddenly short of breath, dizzy, breaking into a cold sweat, or feeling pressure in your chest, even if it's mild, this is not the time to wait and see. Trust your gut. The earlier you respond, the more likely you are to survive. Now, once those signs hit, the next thing you need to do is probably the hardest, but most important. Don't panic. That may sound impossible in the moment, but hear me out. When panic sets in, your heart rate spikes, your blood pressure rises, and everything becomes harder for your body and your brain. So take control, even if it's just for a few seconds. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in slowly through your nose, hold for a moment, then breathe out gently through your mouth. Do it again and again. Slow, steady breathing can reduce the stress on your heart and help you stay clear-headed, so you can take the next step. And that next step, call emergency services right away, not after you try to lie down, not after you wait to see if it passes. Immediately. Even if you're not 100% sure it's a heart attack, call. It's far better to be cautious than to risk your life. If you have a mobile phone nearby, use it. If you've set up voice commands like Hey Siri or OK Google, use your voice to call for help. Make sure your emergency numbers are programmed in and easy to access. Every second counts, and getting the ambulance moving is one of the most life-saving actions you can take. Once you've made that call, unlock your front door. This small action can save precious time. When responders arrive, you don't want them wasting a second trying to figure out how to get in. If you live in an apartment with a gate or entry code, make sure that information is clearly posted near your door, or pre-shared with a neighbor or emergency contact. Keep it simple, but make sure help can reach you without delay. If your doctor has advised it and you're not allergic, take an aspirin quickly. A full-strength 325 milligrams, chewed, not swallowed whole. Chewing helps it get into your bloodstream faster and start thinning your blood. But this step only applies if you've previously discussed it with your healthcare provider. If you're unsure or have never been told to take aspirin, skip this step until medical professionals arrive. Never guess when it comes to medication, especially during a crisis. Now, as you're waiting, don't lie flat, and don't try to stand or walk around. Stay upright in a seated position. Sitting helps ease the strain on your heart and lungs, while keeping your airway open. Lying down flat can make it harder to breathe, and standing could make you faint. Find a firm chair if you can. Support your back, breathe, and focus on staying calm while help is on the way. Finally, if you can, reach out to someone you trust, a neighbor, a friend, a family member. Send a quick text or call just to say, "I'm having chest pain. I called 911. Please come or stay on the line with me." That person might be able to meet the ambulance, provide support, or simply keep you grounded until help arrives. Never underestimate the power of hearing a familiar voice in a scary moment. It reminds you that you're not alone, even when it feels like you are. Let me tell you about George. He's 72, retired, lives in a quiet neighborhood, and had always thought of himself as fairly healthy. One evening, he felt this strange squeezing in his chest, like someone had tightened a belt around his ribs. It wasn't sharp, just uncomfortable. He remembered what his doctor told him years ago: if anything ever feels off, and you think it might be your heart, chew an aspirin and call 911. That memory kicked in like a switch. He grabbed the aspirin bottle from his kitchen drawer, chewed one tablet, and called for help. When the paramedics arrived, they told him he had done exactly the right thing. That aspirin helped thin his blood just enough to keep the clot from completely blocking the artery. George had a heart attack, but because he acted fast and followed simple steps, he walked out of the hospital 3 days later, alive and recovering. His quick thinking gave him more birthdays, more mornings with his wife, more time to enjoy life, all from one small pill and a clear head. Then there's Maria. She's 68, sharp as a tack, and always quick to laugh. But the night she had her heart attack, she didn't feel any chest pain. What she did feel was nausea, and a weird ache in her neck and jaw. She thought maybe it was something she ate, spicy food, maybe acid reflux. She lay down, hoping it would pass, but deep down, something didn't feel right. Hours passed before she finally called her daughter, who rushed her to the ER. By then the damage had already begun. Maria survived, thankfully, but her recovery was long and difficult. What she later said stuck with me. If I'd just listened to my body and not dismissed it, I could have saved myself a lot of pain. Her story is a reminder, especially for women. Heart attacks don't always follow the textbook signs, and ignoring the signals can cost you time you don't have. Walter, 75, is the kind of man who doesn't like to complain. He still does yard work, drives himself to appointments, and keeps busy. One morning though, he felt winded just walking from his kitchen to the living room. His chest felt tight, not painful, but like he couldn't get a full breath. He sat down, took a few sips of water, but the discomfort wouldn't go away. Something told him this wasn't normal, so even though he wasn't in agony, he picked up the phone and dialed 911. The paramedics told him later that if he had waited another hour, he might not have made it. That quiet, creeping pressure he felt, it was the early stage of a heart attack, but because he listened to his body and took action, he got the help he needed in time. Walter says now, "I didn't think I was sick enough to call, but I'm sure glad I did." And then there's Ruth, 80 years old and full of fire. She lives alone, and watches health videos just like this one. One morning, she woke up feeling off. Her arm was aching in a way that didn't make sense. She felt a little dizzy. She remembered this exact video. Hearing that pain in the arm, especially the left, could be a sign. She didn't second guess it. She unlocked her door, called 911, chewed an aspirin and sat down to wait. The EMTs arrived quickly, and sure enough, she was having a heart attack. The paramedic told her later, "Ma'am, you saved your own life today," and she did. Because she paid attention, she prepared, and she acted. These stories aren't just touching, they're life-saving. Each one shows us the same thing. It's not about being perfect or fearless, it's about being informed, being ready, and not waiting until it's too late. Because sometimes the smallest actions, like making a phone call, unlocking a door, or remembering something you heard in a video, can be the reason you're still here tomorrow. Let's talk about what not to do. Because in a heart attack, the wrong move can be just as dangerous as doing nothing at all. One of the most common and deadliest mistakes, waiting too long. That hesitation, that little voice that says, "Let's just see if this goes away," can be fatal. Minutes matter. The longer you wait, the more heart tissue is starved of oxygen, and the more permanent the damage becomes. People wait because they don't want to be embarrassed if it turns out to be nothing. But I promise you this, doctors would much rather send you home healthy than see you arrive too late. Never wait for the pain to get worse before doing something. If something feels wrong, act. Your life is worth that phone call. Another mistake many people make is trying to drive themselves to the hospital. I get it. You're independent, you don't want to trouble anyone, and you think it'll be faster to just get in the car and go. But if you're having a heart attack, that's the most dangerous place you can be behind the wheel. You could lose consciousness, pass out from the pain, or become disoriented. That puts not just your life at risk, but others on the road too. When you're having a heart attack, you need trained medical help right away, not just transportation. The paramedics can begin treatment the moment they reach you. That can't happen if you're in a car alone. Let the professionals take over. That's what they're trained for, and it could be the reason you make it to the hospital alive. Now here's another big one, thinking it's just acid reflux or stress. Especially if you've had either before, your mind might try to convince you it's something harmless. Maybe it's heartburn. Maybe you're just anxious. But here's the difference. Acid reflux doesn't usually make you break into a cold sweat. Stress doesn't normally cause arm pain, or leave you short of breath without exertion. It's natural to want to explain symptoms away, especially when they're vague or new. But heart attacks come in many disguises. If there's even a sliver of doubt, don't ignore it. Acid reflux doesn't kill you. A heart attack can. You can't afford to guess wrong. And this next mistake especially affects women, ignoring unusual symptoms. Many women don't get the crushing chest pain. Instead, they feel back pain, jaw pain, lightheadedness, or just overwhelming fatigue. because it doesn't match what we've seen in movies or on TV. Many women don't take it seriously, but women are just as likely, sometimes more likely to die from heart attacks. The symptoms are different, but no less deadly. If you're a woman or caring for one, you need to be especially alert to anything that feels strange or out of the ordinary. If your body feels off in a way that doesn't make sense, don't push through it. Pay attention, take it seriously. It could be your warning. And finally, this one is too often overlooked: not taking your preventive medications properly. If your doctor has prescribed medication to manage your cholesterol, blood pressure, or heart rhythm, it's because they're trying to prevent the very thing we're talking about. But skipping doses, stopping without asking, or forgetting entirely is like pulling the batteries out of your smoke alarm. It might be quiet for a while, but when the fire comes, there's no warning. These medications don't work unless you take them consistently. Keep them where you can see them. Set reminders. Ask your pharmacist for a simple pill organizer. It might seem small, but sticking to your meds can be the difference between living with a healthy heart and fighting for your life in an ambulance. Let's talk about preparation, because knowing what to do is one thing, but being able to do it when it counts is something else entirely. That's where these simple drills come in. They're not complicated, they don't take long, and they could absolutely save your life. Start with this one: simulating calling for help. It sounds basic, but in a crisis, even dialing 911 can feel overwhelming, so practice. Sit down, close your eyes, and imagine you're having symptoms. Where's your phone? Can you reach it quickly? Now say the words out loud. I think I'm having a heart attack. I need an ambulance. Just saying it out loud, even without pressing call, trains your brain to act instead of freeze. If you use a smartphone with voice activation, try using your voice assistant. Say, "Hey Siri, call 911, or Alexa, emergency help." Practice it until it feels natural, so if the time ever comes, you won't hesitate, you'll just respond. Next, let's practice breathing control. When fear hits, your breathing gets shallow and fast, which puts even more strain on your heart. So here's a simple breathing drill. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it for 4. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Do it again and again. This kind of controlled breathing lowers your heart rate, reduces panic, and helps you stay clear-headed. Do this drill once or twice a day, even just for a minute. You're not just relaxing, you're training your body to respond calmly under pressure. Now try the "Where's the aspirin" routine. Go to the exact spot where you keep your emergency aspirin. If you don't have one yet, set it up today, somewhere easy to reach, not locked away in a cabinet. Practice grabbing it, opening the bottle, and pretending to chew a tablet. If you have arthritis or trouble opening containers, switch to an easy open bottle. The point is, in a real emergency, you want your hand to go straight to it without thinking. Make it part of your muscle memory. Another powerful drill: preparing your emergency contact list. On a piece of paper or your phone, list at least 2 people to contact in an emergency. Include their full names, phone numbers, and any key medical info they need to know about you. Post a copy on your fridge, keep one in your wallet, and save it in your phone under IC, that stands for in case of emergency. You can even tell your family or neighbors where to find it. This tiny action could make a huge difference when every second counts. And finally, let's make sure your voice-activated emergency tools are ready. If you have a smartphone, smart speaker, or wearable device, take a moment to set up emergency contacts and commands. On most phones, you can train it to respond to your voice, so if your hands aren't working, or you're too weak to move, you can still call for help. Test it now. Practice saying, "Hey Siri, emergency," or "Alexa, call for help." It might feel silly, but that silly little drill might be the reason help arrives in time. Each of these drills takes just a few minutes, but they train your body and your brain to act fast. Because when the moment comes, you don't want to be thinking, you want to be doing. You want every move to feel automatic, instinctive, like second nature. And the good news, you can start that training right now. Prevention is the real power. It's the quiet daily choices, the little habits, that build a stronger, healthier heart over time. And it's never too late to start. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Let's begin with something incredibly simple but powerful: a daily walk. You don't have to run marathons or join a gym. Just lace up your shoes and step outside. Even 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Walking gets your heart pumping, your blood circulating, and your mood lifting. It strengthens your cardiovascular system gently, without putting pressure on your joints. And maybe the best part, it's free, it's easy, and you can start today, right now. Just a short stroll around the block, or even pacing in your living room, while watching TV, adds up to a stronger heart over time. Now let's talk about something that sneaks into almost every meal: salt and sugar. Too much salt raises your blood pressure. Too much sugar, it feeds inflammation and damages arteries. You don't have to give them up completely, but be mindful. Choose low-sodium versions of your favorite foods. Read labels. Cook a little more at home, where you control what goes in. Swap out that extra teaspoon of sugar for a slice of fruit. These aren't big sacrifices. They're gentle shifts that protect your heart without making life miserable. And over time, your taste buds adjust, and your body will thank you. Another key piece of the puzzle is regular checkups and heart tests. I know, they're easy to skip, especially when you feel fine, but that's the thing about heart disease. It often builds quietly, without symptoms. That's why seeing your doctor for blood work, EKGs, or even stress tests, can catch warning signs early, before they turn into emergencies. Make that appointment. Don't wait for a scare. Think of it like maintaining your car. You wouldn't ignore the engine light. Your body deserves the same attention, and while you're at it, know your numbers. Do you know your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar? These aren't just numbers, they're clues. They tell you how your heart is doing behind the scenes. Keep a little notebook, or use your phone to track them. If you're not sure what's normal, ask your doctor. Knowing your numbers gives you control. It puts the power in your hands. You can't change what you don't know, but when you do know, that's where change begins. Lastly, take a moment to organize your medications and emergency information. Keep a current list of everything you take: prescriptions, supplements, even vitamins. Include dosages and times. Stick that list on your fridge. Keep a copy in your purse or wallet, and give one to a trusted friend or family member. Also include any allergies or special instructions, like whether you take aspirin or have a pacemaker. In an emergency, this can save critical minutes. First responders can treat you faster, more accurately, and avoid harmful mistakes if they have the right info up front. None of these steps are overwhelming on their own, but together, they build a shield around your heart, a daily layer of protection. You don't need to be perfect, just consistent, because prevention isn't about fear, it's about freedom. The freedom to enjoy your life with less worry, the freedom to take care of yourself before something goes wrong, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're doing what you can. You've made it this far, and that means something. You care. You're taking charge. And if you've been feeling scared or unsure about what would happen if a heart attack struck while you were alone, just know this: you are not helpless. Not now, not ever. You're just one good decision away from being prepared. One step, one drill, one habit can make all the difference. And no matter your age, your strength, or your history, it is never too late to become more ready, more informed, and more empowered than you were yesterday. Now, if you found value in this video, if something you heard made you think, "I didn't know that," then please share this with someone you love, a friend, a neighbor, a sibling. Because this information could be the reason someone makes it through a heart attack. You never know who might need it. And if you want more simple life-saving advice, things you can actually use, explained in a way that makes sense, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of strong, smart, health-conscious seniors who are learning how to live better every single day. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us what's one thing you've learned today that you didn't know before. It could be the aspirin trick, the breathing drill, or maybe just realizing how important it is to unlock your door during an emergency. Whatever it is, share it, because your words might help someone else remember it when they need it most. We're all in this together, and you never know whose life you might touch just by speaking up.